Good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy Tuesday to join me. I really appreciate that. I'm fresh out of the shower and on to, normal scheduled programming time. I hope that you guys enjoyed sort of the diversification of content today. I look forward to doing more of that, as we move into the future. This is a digital diary excerpt. We're going old school vlog with it. The other streams were similar in nature. I think there was once a night about nationalization of law, real estate, and medical that was a little bit different in its presentation. But nonetheless, if I haven't already thanked you, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate your time. And, a few updates in my personal life, as it would be, I was invited to a virtual open casting call with a talent development agency earlier this afternoon. I attended and was then presented with a few different opportunities for work later on this month in the film industry. A movie, a commercial, a couple of background parts in TV shows, things like this, And so I was really excited that they picked me in terms of the selection process. And so moving forward now, I will be attending virtual open casting calls, and hopefully, I'll be able to get some work so that I can make some money. Today was kind of a tough day in that it was real cool in that regard, but then, I talked to some random dude named Eddie about some land that I was trying to sell desperately for months. And now, 5 months later, I'm still stuck here holding the bag, which is kind of like been the overall theme of my entire life. And I was telling my roommate, like, at some point, you become tired of having the bag unloaded on you when it comes to you try to prepare, you try to do what you can, and sometimes things just fall apart, and take it from somebody who's yet to figure out my own formula of success. It's tough because you encounter all these old people, you know what I mean, who constantly like tell you they're going to do something and then they don't, and then little it be known to them. Like, I felt really bad today because I was waiting on this $1,000 so that like I could help out with some bills. Publicly I've stated, that like as a business owner, I sunk a business and made some terrible decisions last year. And I there are a couple of employees that I still owe money to, and in all fairness, it isn't at all even close to the amount that I'm giving them still, but still, it doesn't matter because I owe them this money. One, two, I'm going to pay them way more than they're, like expected to get back anyway. And it's all under like a few $100s, you know what I mean? But for example, I have a former employee who's a young lady, and I think I owe her like $400 tops, and I've agreed to give her like $1,000. These are digital diary excerpts, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, if I wasn't down with sharing my life and being transparent, open, and accountable, then I wouldn't be the person that I am in front of this camera every single night 4 times. You feel me? Like, it's too much work to lie. It's too much work, especially when you do what I do, in that these are impromptu speeches, and scripting and making things up is one thing. Getting on camera and saying how you feel in real time is another, you know what I mean? And I have, zero to little regrets so far as I'm concerned when it comes to the channel. And I think that's important because that's what the whole channel is about, is the idea that like this isn't a box, that everyone's welcome, that there are going to be opinions made by myself that I feel like are going to be unpopular initially, but at some point can be revisited, when people are ready to address these kinds of topics that I'm so interested in, tackling, right? And so it was an interesting day for sure. It was just another one of those days in a life of Albert that can't really easily be described, other than that, I lost again. I feel like a moron. I feel stupid. I feel insulted. I feel violated. All those things. Why? Because another person, went out of their way to exploit me. And yeah, like, coming out of the bad relationship and then coming out of, people who are trying to sucker you out of land deals and stuff when you're already giving them a deal. It's just kind of like, all right, okay, universe, I feel you. I've publicly said this too. I feel like the mistakes that I have made in my life, I continue to pay for, and I'm happy to be the guy that pays for all the mistakes I've ever made. But at some point, I would expect some kind of a break in terms of what the universe provides for myself, and that just getting things done is the way to move forward and stuff. And I'm always, again, long term investment, right? It's like all of the things that I do, even financially speaking, take a long time to come true, and there becomes a point in your life where you realize you don't have all that much time, and you really are trying to get things done, and people, are coming into your way with all of these falsehoods and all of these problems, as it would be, real estate agents or some random guy you meet on the internet that's supposed to sell your land and doesn't. These are the things I'm talking about. They impact people, and again, I just feel real stupid, and I don't want to feel real stupid anymore. We should live in a world where people older than us are responsible in that way. Like people who say they buy land actually buy land. I don't present myself in that way. And even the private debts that I've incurred, I've been totally accountable for, in terms of I owe money, like that's just a simple fact of life. And, money is, I could, like, there's probably nothing in this world that I care less about than money. Maybe other than gun control policy, but we'll get to that in future videos. In terms of everyone has the right to free will, but just like, there are some things that are just, you gotta work past. You gotta be a grown up, and I feel like I'm trying to do these things, and that I am continuously met with a kind of attitude by older folks in particular that is not only unwarranted but just straight up crony, and I don't know, I'm doing what I can to get by that, but it's still tough, like taking these L's as I get older is tough, again, and this is coming from somebody who's taken many L's in their middle-aged life, as it concerns all of things and personal sacrifices and things that I've had to walk away from, and situations that I wish I could have made better at the time, but I certainly didn't. We all deal with these things, and I feel like I've been more of a man than anything, in that I am reflecting upon myself, I'm beholden upon myself, I'm accountable to myself, and I know what's better, and I know right from wrong. I don't need a mom or a dad or a god or anybody to tell me any different. Like, this is just human nature so far as I'm concerned, and like, I don't get why other people don't get it. Like, even me, like, I'm starting to be the middle-aged, old, grumpy kind of a guy, in that, like, people that are older than me behave like children. Like, and again, at some point, you reach an age where you're going to call them out on it. And when I was like 25, it may have been inappropriate to call out older folks in their, like, whatever, their perspective. But as I get older, no holds barred anymore. Like, I was a part of the problem by not saying anything in my early 20s, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, publicly, you feel me, in terms of trying to trying to like make change and stuff. So I am at a loss of words when it comes to certain kinds of business dealings that are conducted within this country by certain people who claim to be men, but in fact are far from that. Because I will say it, in an un-PC world, in a very politically correct way, that I perceive and I think that a man, because I identify as a male, like, right, like a human being, I'm a dude, I'm a man, that's how I identify, and I think that men are should be gentlemen. I think men should be honest. I think men should be loyal. I think men should be accountable. I think men should handle things in the most diplomatic and cordial way possible, but yet the definition of a man that is often sold is sort of like this robust, narcissistic, individualized, like modology of like a person that doesn't exist. In terms of being a man is what I described. That's what to me being a man is. And I'm proud to be a man. Nobody's taught me how to be a man. Unfortunately, even my own father, who is alive and has a voice and a phone and a brain and can call me and talk, nobody, again, learning life sometimes, we got to do things on our own. And I give no credit to anybody in my life other than, my grandfather and my grandma, in terms of instilling the kinds of ideas in me that are required to make a real man, and not a man who cheats, who exploits, who lies, who steals. I've tried to be that man in terms of, like, just even the thought of like stealing people's emotions for your own gain. Yeah,